Here you see the Bestwood colliery winding engine house, and this is the entire history of it. This literally says everything from A to Z of this thing. So I'm going to read it, and I think it's going to be fun and interesting. So let's start. The Bestwood winding engine is unique. It is the only existing twin cylindric vertical stem engine in England that still stands on its original site. So that means this thing is the only twin cylinder vertical stem engine that still is on the place that it was built. The winding engine house is a listed building, and both the engine house and the engine are scheduled as ancient monuments. Which means that both the engine house and the engine itself are both registered as monuments or things with great value. The coal mine at Bestwood was started in 1872 by John Lancaster under lease from the 10th Duke of Albans. The building of the engine house began in 1873, and its Italian Gothic style is a classic example of Victorian industrial architecture. So basically it had an Italian Gothic style, which was a classic example of the Victorian industrial architecture. The main roof support beams are so large that great difficulty was had at the time in purchasing logs of sufficient size. The roof was so large that builders or architects had hard time to find logs the size that needed to be capable for the roof. As the colliery grew, so did the Bestwood village, home to all the workers. So the Bestwood village grew as the colliery grew because the colliery needed more workers in demand. The 3-story vertical winding engine was commissioned in 1873 and built by RJ and E Coupe of the Worsley Mesnes Company from Wigan. So the Worsley Mesnes Company, that was a company, and RJ and E Coupe of that company were commissioned to build this winding house in 1873. Now, it has 2 large stem-driven pistons and is topped by an 18 feet diameter 5.5 meter drum over which the thick wire ropes are wound. It had a top lifting speed of 30 miles per hour, which was the national record. So it had basically, it could lift things at a speed of 30 miles per hour, which was a national record. The whole engine was controlled by just one man, the driver's position on the first floor. So this entire thing, this huge thing that you see, is only controlled by one and only person, which is the driver on the first floor. Then, the engine powered the lifts in shafts number 2, which was the downcast shaft. This meant that for ventilation below ground in the mine, the air travelled down this shaft. The upcast, shaft number 1, where the air came up out of the mine, was 60 yards away and powered by a horizontal winding engine. The colliery headstocks are the original ones from 1872. The 5-story iron lattice work legs were later encased in concrete. There was a roofed building between the headstocks and engine house with an interior floor 20 feet from ground level. The loading and unloading of men and coal tubs from the pit cages took place on both levels. The colliery was highly successful and became the first pit in the country to dig out over 1 million tons of coal in a year. So basically this entire colliery was highly successful when it was built and became the first pit in the country, so in Britain, to dig out over 1 million tons of coal in a year. So they literally digged out 1 million, the amount of coal that weighted 1 million tons in just 1 year. Then it continued until its closure in 1967. So basically it was built, or it was commissioned to build in 1873, and it closed, means it continued until its closure. So it closed in 1967 and it was later demolished in 2008. So in 2000, it was closed in 1967 and it was later demolished in 2008, not in 2008, I'm sorry to say that, but in 2008 a Heritage Lottery Fund grant was obtained, and in 2009 the engine house and nearby electric substations building was fully restored. So this basically means that in 2008, a heritage lottery fund grant was obtained, and in 2009, the engine house and nearby electric substation buildings were fully restored. So this thing was demolished. This thing was completely demolished. But in 2008, a heritage lottery fund grant was obtained, and that grant in 2009, that grant basically restored the engine house and nearby substation buildings. Today, as part of the Bestwood Country Park, these last monuments to Bestwood's important industrial past are open for the public to visit and enjoy. And that's the whole story of the Bestwood colliery winding engine house. Thank you. Okay, so this is the Bestwood Country Park, and as you know, I just explained the entirety of the Bestwood colliery winding engine house. Now, how do you get here? Basically, from the city center, you have to take either the 15, 16, 17 to Rice Park, or any other bus that you know goes to Rice Park, like the 89 Purple Line, any other bus. And when you reach to Rice Park, you have to actually drop off the station before it if you are going on the 15 number bus or the 16 number bus of Brown Line, which is Pine Close Lane, I think. Now, from there, there's an entrance to the park. You have to walk a little bit, but not that far. There's an entrance to the park, and after you enter, it's a huge park. There's a map in front of the park, so you can take a photo or you can just memorize the map to know where you want to go. Now, there are many more sites, I think. There are 4 total sites. This is one of them. The second one, I think, is a field researching club or something, and the rest 2 are basically lodges. When you enter, you have a map which tells you everything about it, like there's woods here and there's this windmill. It tells you basically the location and the route you need to go. You can actually ride a horse here. There's a specific horse route which you can travel on your horse. You can also ride cycles. It's pretty fun. And after you enter, you can take several paths. The map will show you which way you need to go. I think there are 4 to 5 routes to come here. Whichever way you go, you can come here up to the end. So basically, whichever way you go left, right, or straight, you will have a way to reach this place, because every single route in this entire Bestwood Park is connected. So we took, I think, the top route, the top left route, and it was a long route, but I think it's the shortest route out of the 4 or 5 routes. There's an incredible view over there of like many stuff, and in the end we were confused about where this thing was, and we kind of lost location of ourselves, but we followed the route, and in the end we figured out that this place is here. That's about it. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.